All right, this is it. Last video of the year, 11.7, surface areas and volumes of cones. So a cone is very similar to a pyramid, except its base is a circle. So these are actually easier than the pyramids because the base is always the same shape. So the surface area is all of the area that would consist of both the base, which is a circle, and the lateral area wrapped around it, which actually ends up being a sector. All right, so the formula for the surface area of a cone is pi r squared plus pi r L. Cursive L, that is the slant height. And the slant height goes from the top of the cone down to the edge of the base. So slant height, cursive L, that's a little bit different than the height. The height of the cone went from the center to the base at a right angle. The slant height goes down the side. R is the radius of the base. So pi r squared plus pi r L. That is the surface area formula. So surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r L. In this case, r is 4 and the slant height is 6. We are going to have to substitute those values in. So I rewrote the formula. Surface area, labeled, slant height, top down to the edge, that's my L, cursive L, slant height. Radius is 4. So plugging in our values, surface area equals pi times the radius, 4 squared, plus pi times the radius, 4 times the slant height, 6. When I simplify this down, 4 squared, 16 pi, plus 24 pi. I can combine those. Those are like terms. So 16 plus 24 is 40 pi. So 40 pi would be the exact surface area. Surface area is in inches squared. All right, volume was cubed. So decimal approximation, type in 40 times pi, and we get approximately 125.663. So 125.66 inches squared is the surface area of the cone. So not too bad there. The base is always a circle, so the area of the base is always just pi r squared. Next thing we're going to discuss is the volume of a cone. Now the volume of a cone is equal to 1/3 the area of the base times the height of the cone. Now in the cone, unlike the pyramid, the base is always a circle, so I can substitute pi r squared in for b. Okay, b is actually the area of the base, or pi r squared. R is the radius of the base, and h is the height of the cone. Now keep in mind, we just went over slant height. Slant height was on the edge. Height, top to the bottom at a right angle. We will not find the surface area of an oblique cone, but we can find its volume. Okay? So, first one, find the volume of the cone. Formula, volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. So our height is 4.5. Our radius is 2.2. We just got to substitute these values in. So volume equals, in parentheses, 1/3 pi times my radius, 2.2 squared, times the height, 4.5. Now I can type it in exactly like that. Just make sure you use all the parentheses. So here we go. Let's type it in. Clear it off. 1 divided 3 in parentheses. Pi button, 2.2 squared, and 4.5 in the parentheses. Our volume is equal to 22 point, it looks like 807, so we'll call that 81, and our units were centimeters. Volume is cubed. Got it. So, make sure you keep those things straight as you are going through. Next example asks for both the surface area and the volume. So I'm going to write surface area first. Let's do surface area. Surface area equals pi r squared plus pi r slant height, cursive L. Well, I know the radius and I know the slant height. Just need to plug them in. Pi, radius is 8 squared plus pi times the radius 8 times slant height 16. 8 squared 64 pi plus 8 times 16, 128 pi. Combine those two. They are like terms, so we have 192 pi. And decimal approximation is right at about 603.185. So 185, I would round to 19 inches squared. Surface area. Now the volume. The formula for volume equals 1/3 area of the base, pi r squared, times the height. Now here's the issue. We do not know the height. We know the slant height. Our height is here. This is a right triangle, so I can use Pythagorean's theorem to find the height. The hypotenuse is 16, so we would say 16 squared is equal to h squared plus 8 squared. And 16 squared is 256 equals h squared plus 64. Subtract the 64, and we get 192 is equal to h squared. Take the square root, and we are at 13.856. So 13, I went with the decimal rather than simplifying the radical. That is okay. So our height is approximately 13.86. All right. Now we can plug it into our formula since we know the height. 1/3 pi times the radius, which is 8 squared in parentheses, height is 13.86. Oops, 8, 6, there we go. And type it in just as it reads. Make sure you use all the parentheses here again, so I'm going to show you how I do it. 1 divide 3, pi button, 8 squared times 13.86, close it. And our volume is equal to 928.91. And we were in inches cubed. All right, so our last example says, find the missing dimensions if the volume of this cylinder, we're going to change that, it's a cone, is 216 pi cubic inches. So we're going to write down the volume of a cone formula. The volume of a cone is equal to 1/3 area of the base, pi r squared times the height. Now in this case, we need to find the radius. We know that the height is 18, and we know that the volume is 216 pi. So I will substitute in everything I know. 216 pi in for volume. Don't forget the pi equals 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times the height, 18. Now to solve this 1/3 is what I want to get rid of first. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. That cancels out the 1/3 times 3. So 216 times 3 is 648. The pi is still there. 1/3 cancel with the 3. Pi r squared 18. Now to isolate the r squared, I'm going to divide both sides by 18. Also divide by pi. Divide 18 pi on both sides. The pi's cancel. Pi's cancel. When I take 648 divided by 18, I get 36 equals the radius squared. Take the square root, and the radius is equal to 6. And we were in inches. And that is it. Hopefully y'all have a great summer, and we'll catch you later.